Told you I'm gonna come on here live today. We're gonna see what we talking about. We'll get into a few topics and stuff. Let me get on here. See what we got going on today. We're gonna create something today. Make it happen. It is Monday. Let's see if I can get this thing. Get this thing. Get this dashboard lined up. And I'll come back up on here. I'm gonna hit this rewind up for ya. And I will see how things go. I'm on here today, and I'll probably get up on it. Probably get up on it. Probably the plan is probably Wednesday. See if I can scoot this thing over. See if everybody's in here. Put this thing on real quick. Yeah, I went in there. Does he hate more than Black folks runs? I went there. Yes, I did. Yeah. Well, I just sent you a message. Well, I just sent you a message. I just sent you a message. I just was on. I said I was gonna come on. Yesterday I was on and I missed you. But yeah, early today, because I've been busy working on some video projects. I got a lot of stuff I'm working on. So good to see you today. And I am here. I just got to send out all my notifications. So yeah. Yeah, well, I wanted to be on because I'm not on tomorrow. Wednesday, Wednesday, and maybe Thursday. How you doing? How you doing? Well, I'm sorry to hear that. It do be acting funny sometime. I got you. But I did want to send you a message on the hello, Paula Hamilton. How are you? I wanted to send you a message on the Facebook Messenger, so I did. So appreciate everything. So hold on just a second. Hold up. Sorry about that. I'm back. Sorry about that. So they never have a key to come into the door when they delivering packages. So I'm back. Anybody on there? Let's holler. I'm back. This thing doing. So let's talk. Let me see if I get this thing right. Question. Oh well, that's too easy. That's too easy. Now, good question. Better voice, Streisand. Bigger icon, Streisand. Who gets the who hobnobs? It's a draw. Liza's daddy, Vincent, was big, and Judy Garland. You know all the story. Um, it's a good question as far as icon because singing it ain't close, but iconic, icon in terms of like if we're going East Coast, um, then you know, Liza doesn't get talked about for a reason. You know, Liza's an interesting topic. Heard a lot of stories about her, and you know, interesting. But thank you for mentioning Barbara Streisand because I do have to use her for something. I usually don't even talk about her. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Liza's more showy. Liza got that token Oscar for Cabaret, and Liza, because the Barry Gordy was all arrogant and pushed down the Ross like crazy, and that thing backfired. So anyway, that's what's up with that. But she was known. She's got name. Got a always over the top. You know, she was an author. Has some interesting stories about Liza Minnelli. I really don't really talk about it, but my uncle was in the industry. She used to talk stuff about her though. She was a freak. And the story is if you Starburst crew had access to her. Everyday People's more impactful song. I listen to One Nation more, but Everyday People's more impactful song. And they were friends though. But not a bad question. But I wouldn't use it though because the thing about it is that it kind of has a similar. I like your vibe though. I like your vibe. It's just that Everyday People is more impactful. I might use that actually. I might. In fact, I might use them both separately. You gave me an idea, so thank you. But individually speaking, um, One Nation is a jam that but Everyday People's like that song that's more, everybody know that song. Okay. Anyway, we're just getting started. There's a lot to get into. Um, I did say what I say about Trump, and I own up to it. When you messing with Dr. King and Juneteenth and state park, national parks, and pay, and you won't change your name over Dr. King, whatever. That's how I feel. You got to deal with all these sellouts and all these and all these haters who want to support that mega crap, and then they wonder why you feel like you feel like you don't be seeing stuff like for what it really is. Okay. People find out the hard way. Okay. So anyway, that's what that's about. You know. Let's talk about whatever you want to talk about. Obviously the Bills won yesterday. If we're gonna talk about football, they beat Cincinnati. I almost do feel for Joe Burrows because he can't stay healthy. They suck on defense, and their coach needs to been gone. And he's almost becoming like a cat that you're gonna soon forget if they don't do anything and wasting his career and his potential away. Got some of the baddest offensive crew we've ever seen. And I was worried because the Bills can't ever stop them on there, can't stop them. So, you know. And I do know that if Cincinnati if they were a little bit healthier, but it's another wasted season for a guy who should be he should have been right there. He should have been right there battling Mahomes with Josh Allen and Lamar, so I don't know. But anyway, so we are. Actually, somebody said 50% on the poll. So that lets me know that there's some megas on it. Ain't no way in the world that you could sit there and say that mess with the mess that he pulls all the time. Ain't no way you can say that. His actions speak louder than words. If you're not a rapper or entertainer or somebody that he can't flaunt, he ain't got no real use for you. And even some other folks got tired of dealing with his shenanigans. I know OJ did. And Michael Jackson did too. He know. But anyway. So that's just one of the poll questions. And if anybody's on here, feel free, let's talk. I will see how long the conversation goes. If I get some good feedback on here, I will be on longer than an hour. If not, I will just make it. I did 40 minutes yesterday. I will round it. I'm more of a Tom and Jerry person. I did like Ren and Snippy. And I'll tell you a funny story. I had a cat I used to work with back in the 90s. And he gave me a whole VHS tapes of Ren and Snippy. It was hilarious. When I wasn't working, it was hilarious. But I did like Tom and Jerry more, even though they were offensive though when they had the black maid though. I won't forget that episode. But I think Tom and Jerry pretty much captured my imagination just a bit more. But I did like Ren and Stimpy though. Excuse me, it was cool. It was cool. It's cool. It's funny you mentioned that too. Well, that takes me back to 94, 93, 94. Because I remember when I worked with that guy, we used to work night shift. And he was the biggest Ren and Snippy fan I ever met. Ren and Stimpy. That's hilarious. Sometimes I be wondering, it's almost like you bug my brain. Cause I heard that name in so long. Yeah, I know. And you gotta be almost a cartoon aholic to understand how that hits. Oh God. This is the battle of the third, fourth tiers. Oof, boy. Ugh. So I'll say this. IMX was big more in a around the way thing. Like Marcus Houston has more star power and he tried to turn on Omari. It's strange when I say that too. Cause he's corny, but he got more star power. He made that naked video. I mean, he has star power. Tank wrote that. Um, but B2K was bigger. So I have to say B2K because Marcus Houston, because you never saw that movie with Marcus and Beyonce when they were dating and they did a corny movie, which was a hood movie. Whereas You Got Served was bigger. So because R. Kelly wrote he wrote for Marcus and but B2K was bigger. But that don't mean they were better. 'Cause both these acts are like third, fourth tier though. I mean, I'm just gonna keep it 100. They're not they're like to be time acts if there ever was. But they hit at the right time. So there's no accounting for taste. Because to be honest with you, they were like a tier below So For Real, but So For Real only had one big hit. And I take a legit second tier act like High Five over both these acts put together. We ain't even talking about Jodeci Boys to Men tiers. So there were tiers to the boy groups, R&B boy grands back in 112s and Jagged Edge. They're below them. So, but I'm just saying they're below After 7. I can go on. but they were big, and again, there's no accounting for taste. Hello, how you doing? Thank you for coming abroad. Doing good today, doing good today. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate it. You think? That's dicey. Health wise, that's dicey. Can't say because I can't forecast. Some people don't think so. He definitely don't take care of himself. I know that for a fact. Oh, it's easy. It's always New Edition. Remember, aside from O'Sheila, Digital Display, and they had a couple songs. I like Ready for the World in a broke, double, triple, junior whopper. Prince meets the time with a nod to Michael Jackson kind of way. Yeah, no, but they were never better than New Edition. Because Cool It Now still sounds fresher than anything Ready for the World did. A little bit of love is as funky as stuff that Ready for the World did. And I like Ready for the World Digital Display. It was cool. And then actually Melvin Riley. Funny thing about Ready for the World, Melvin Riley was Snaisley and Aisley before Keith Sweat. That's ironic, which just goes to show how they be acting because they have you thinking they have to sing how they sing and will do what they do. It was lightweight, but it was, you know, had a little bit of a run. And then they were pretty much like old men by 88, 89. So no, there's nothing that I can say about them. In all honesty, probably what I call a legit high third tier act. Bottom low second, high third. Catchy, you know. And I did like Been a Long Time Coming. There had a couple of things that I bop, but nothing on, one of those acts that right place, right time, but nothing distinctive. Whereas New Edition, yeah. And I don't compare groups and bands because it's two different entities. But if I'm going by showmanship, you know, that's not even fair because you're talking about an artist and a producer. And Magoo didn't even really last that long. Magoo was like a broke knockoff of Q-Tip. But I did love to love you. That was my cut. But corny is going to be Nick, even though Timberland does a lot of cornball stuff. But Timberland is not as big as Nick Cannon. He could be arguably considered more annoying though. Could be, could be because that whole AI thing and his whole yeah. And I think he's corny. And the whole elite obsession too, but that's another story. No, I just ain't never really now. But I don't look at Magoo because Magoo didn't have a say in it. So I don't really hold that against Magoo. What's up? How you doing? Let's holla. Holla at your boy. Glad to see somebody coming through. I know one thing. I ain't got no football fans in here because after the Cowboys got their butt toe up, the place is like a zombie land. And even LeBron folks ain't really. I noticed it's like the sports heads ain't nowhere in sight. They hate me. Good, cause y'all know y'all know y'all when y'all see when I take that L, when I take that L, I take that L. But when I come to collect, oh buddy, buddy boy. I gotta deal with a lot of haters as it is all over these social streets, though. Well, your defense looked good. What happened after the Minnesota game? Your defense looked good. You balled out. Then you got shut out by Carolina, and that was your season. I like Michael Penix Jr., but you stuck with Kirk Cousins, and your coach is. I remember Raheem. Raheem got fired before, and he probably gonna get fired again because they forgot that it's a 18, 19 game season, not a 9 game season, and they already fell off the map. And I don't know what happened with Raheem Morris in Atlanta. Should have been better than what they were. That front defense looked good, but then they just fell off. And I know that division's soft and sucks. Oh, NWA. But I did like the sound of the police though, because actually, I got a funny story. I work with the East Indian woman, and that's one of her first songs she learned when she was in the States. It was hilarious. We used to be working. I worked restaurant, and I would work with her, and she go, "Woot woot, sound of police," woot," and that cracked me up. I was like, "Wow." She knew about that song. People be like knowing stuff more than they lead on. They gonna know about that song now with the whole ISIS, but that's no story though. Another video. As far as NWA, of course, that one still gets hyped up. You don't want Belichick. Nobody wants Belichick. Belichick is white ball for the NFL. In case you don't know, they're not gonna hire him no time soon. And Brady went and got that ring, and Belichick messed up with what he did. He ain't getting no job no time soon. Do you really think? I'm gonna say this right now for you to understand me. A white head coach that close to having an all-time winningest record, and he can't get a job. He can't. No, they're not touching him. Robert Kraft put it out there. They're not gonna give him nothing. Um, Morris is a good coordinator, and I think I understand by a young black coach as far as coaching you up, but he got in over his head. I don't think. Well, Harbaugh would be interesting because I don't know what's gonna happen with the Chargers. I just don't understand what's going on with you know I don't understand. I thought Westmacott was a better quarterback than he's portrayed for the Chargers, but he just can't get his groove going. So, but I Morris got yeah, you know. Plus it's Atlanta too, so there's a lot of politics involved. Well, Belichick's situation is because of, I mean, let's keep it 100. All of the video, the tapes, and all the other stuff, and then how he ran Brady out, and he made the mistake I always tell anybody in sports: don't you dare let a ring go out that door. That's the kiss of your death. Brady goes to Tampa Bay, wins a ring, brings Gronk with him. What do? You didn't handle Cam Newton the right way, and then you were stuck with two suspect quarterbacks, and then you look lost, and you couldn't even get to mediocrity. And Mac and Cheese Jones actually goes to Jacksonville, looks at Frisco, he looks like he's all right, but you blew it with Mac and Cheese Jones. You had an opportunity, and it just didn't, and you look bad, and so he looked horrible. Then he's off in Carolina in college, got that young tenderoni, and she's getting more first downs than he is on his team. I mean, it's just not good for him. So no one is going to touch him. Oh yeah, yeah. Come back when you can. Come back when you can. But yeah, you know, Belichick, that's what we call him, and it ain't look good. And Robert Kraft said, "Hey, this dude is a buster. He messed up. He did. He messed up. Uh, yeah, he feeling good for Purdy. Listen, the 49ers, because of their choke jobs, is why no one's taking them serious and all the injuries they got. And no one, and most people don't like Joey Bosa either for his politics, that whole thing. But And Kyle Shanahan got a lot. It's how he still got a job. He didn't choke 2 Super Bowls and choke the NFC Championship game. I don't know how he still got a job because to me his season doesn't start to the end of January. That's when his season starts in January. He can get you through the season, and they're not doing bad. It's just that the Rams and Seattle look like a tier ahead. That NFC West is a mother. It is the truth. It is the mother. So, but yeah, he looked pretty poised. I saw Mac Jones. I mean, you know. See, that's why Belichick don't deserve no job no more anyway. You know, he really had an opportunity to do something with that kid, and messed it up. So, you know, and if you think about it, he that close to being the winningest head coach ever. They send a message. So he's damaged goods. I don't care because I don't have no love for that turkey, and I don't think much about Belichick. He's smug, and we're gonna see how it play out. But yeah, the 49ers, it's gonna be interesting how everything parlay goes on. Oh yeah, well, all the leagues stick together like that. They ain't just the NFL. It's a good old boys network. I mean, that's how the ownership, they pick who they want. You know, NBA does it too. Major League Baseball does it too. You know, it's been always a good old boy network. There are people who deny it. They'll look you in your face and say, "Oh, you stuck in there too." Oh yeah, but then they proof is in the pudding. They proof be in the pudding. It's like I told you so. Think you crazy and try to play you like you crazy, like you seeing things. You seeing what they want. They show you what they made of. You get your turn. So, but anyway, that's how that is with that. So, all right. See what we got. Feel free, feel free. Give me some more comments. 75% saying yes. Yeah, I'm always amazed. I'm like, yo, them numbers should be way, way up. I'm like Jim Jones saying, I'm all the way up. Cause I don't understand how anybody can say that it ain't all the way up. And it's all political too. So everybody tells you differently, they lying. It's all political too. And they gave Mac Jones an extra shot to extra opportunity to do what he wanted to do. Cause he made some racist remarks and stuff. They gave him opportunity. Sure did. You know. So let's see. What did I get asked? Oh yeah, I got asked about. Oh yeah. I got nothing good to say about 50 Cent, and he better watch. I give Marlon Wayans was right. He better watch his back because they're common. Because they just set him up to just say anything, and they just letting the turkey just say anything. That's what's going on. Thank you for anyone that's hitting the likes up. Thank you very much. Keep on hitting the likes up. And if you got something you want to say, come on through. Don't be scared. This is live. I'll be here for a minute. I just need people to give me some comments, though. Okay, let's see what we got. Let's see what we working on. Hope everybody doing good today. So, like I said before, it's a pretty quiet day. Just kind of like taking everything in. See what we working with. See what we got. See what we working on. Okay. Tell folks, come on through. See what you got. I'll be on for at least another 25 minutes or so. If I sense anybody coming through. I know people are getting into their holiday mode. They got if they're celebrating, if they got money. Okay, good. I need someone to talk to because I got to make these next 25 minutes to count. Because nobody, a lot of people, a lot of people ain't coming back though. So a lot of people ain't gonna come in here because sports related. They not gonna come in here. I understand. I'm not gonna hold it against them because I ain't gonna be that petty. But I know why they not. I get it. So what's on your mind? Keep on with some more thoughts, cause a light. Actually, I found a way to. I'm gonna use the Steiner Family Stone, and I'm gonna use the Funkadelic. And you did give me an idea for Streisand. Oh boy, this is hilarious. For me, it's Beyonce, but Brandy has had what I call more better use of her tone. But I think it's Beyonce though. But neither one of them are what I consider memorable though. Because Beyonce just over the top indulges, and Brandy's got that kind of cool situation, but again, it doesn't really register to like, oh, okay. And I always got to deal with these folks who are Brandy stands who think she's some kind of wonder of vocals, and I'm like, she's good. She wasn't like that. And of course, the Beyonce Beehive. I mean, like it's like you know, I got to keep hearing about it. It depends on what waters you you swim in. I'm not crazy about neither one of those the two B's. To be honest with you, Stacey Lattisaw Brown sing them both under a table, as far as I'm concerned. Shantae Moore wipes the floor with both of them for my money. For my money, but she can't get no love though. So, yeah, I'm just saying. So, all right. Pretty low key day, but I'm glad you're here though. I know we ain't gonna say anything about great. Only their fans do. I don't. Monica got more expression, but Monica don't really hit me like that. She has some good moments, and none of them combined would be considered great. You know, give me Whitney Houston on an off day over them on their best day. That's how I feel. Because I look at Beyonce, it's almost like it was some factory driven, but I don't be getting it though. And Beyonce been around, dang, 30 years. So it's not like yeah, yeah. It's almost 30 years. That's crazy. Brandy and Monica, I saw them all back in the 90s, all of them. So for people coming to say, woo, I said, well, I saw them all. So that's kind of how it is. Again, I'll be on here today and I won't be back until probably Wednesday. So just keep in mind if you're doing a live stream, if you're looking forward to seeing me, I'll be on when I'll be on. See what I got. All right, let me know if you're still around. Um, I don't have to watch it because I already knew about it. And if you watch my videos, there's nothing new under the sun. Now I'm gonna reiterate again. No, I'm not in the industry, but I know a lot of the connections. I know how he got his money. I know the people he parlayed with. So they're not saying nothing new. All you need to do is look at that Clive Davis video. Was it about a year ago when they went up to him in Vegas and they said, "What you think about Sean Puffy did it?" He go, "Who?" That's all you need to know. I don't. And 50 is a hater. He been stacking this up for a decade. Did he try to hit on him? And I think he gonna get some clapback because did he mess with his baby mama or some mess? And 50's being a troll. What they want is black men against black men, and they pay you money to do that. 50 can't even get a great value Goodwill discount to do a documentary on Charlie Sheen and Kevin Spacey, but they can go touch on Diddy because this is how the industry pays Diddy back. Because when he spoke against the alcohol and got black, they what the only thing they say that's behind on was the Cassie video for not being used as an evidential thing because it expired, but they held that over him. See, and this is the thing about the industry; it's all tied in with the government. So they knew all about what he's doing. He'd been snitching and sneaking and all that. And if they ever told the truth, that's why his sentence got deducted. Because yeah, they get him for something, but they didn't. That's not what you lock him up for, you know. So I don't need to see it. It's not gonna tell me nothing I didn't already know. I think 50 is cheap and he's a sellout. And I'm not defending Diddy at all, but I didn't need to see it because I already know about how Diddy gets down. Diddy, no talent, hustler. He's in the right industry. And a lot of his things that helped him out was Clarence Avant, who you know, Clarence Avant ain't here no more. So there's a lot of players behind the scenes that you couldn't imagine that had access to keeping things under wraps and covered, you know. But when the industry wants to depart from you and do what they do, they have a way of doing things. So that's all I'll say about that. I have no intentions to support anything that 50 Cent does with that. You trying to tear down another black man to justify the plantation, you get no love from me. And it's not because I got any I don't have a doggy in it. I think Diddy was obviously was used. Well, my biggest crime with Diddy was always about how he was pushed as a producer, as an artist. You know, I'm sorry, you grew up watching people could actually play and sing and actually could perform and entertain, and you stuck with him, and they making him out like he's some kind of conglomerate, and that's hilarious. Because Parade Magazine, which is one of the most conservative places that you can get on a Sunday, called him the most talented man in hip hop, and that's when I knew how they were bought. Probably did, but what happened was they put money on his books. Think about it. You do a 15, 20 year bid in Brandy and Monica touring and they can stick you in the middle. That's cause shoot, there's been money put on your books. So somebody got him covered. They cover who they want to cover. They protect who they want to protect, you know. But they said. Yeah, it was Parade Magazine. It was in a Sunday paper. I remember this is over 20 years ago. And I never forgot. I read that thing. It was Parade Magazine because I used to love reading Parade. It was one of my favorite things to read in a Sunday newspaper. Back when you get a Sunday paper and you'd open up the Sunday, and they had him on the, and I was like, oh boy. Well, and I remember Alley and Babyface back in '94, Billboard. And they said when I grew up, Babyface said I grew up, I'm gonna be like Diddy. Both of them, because Clive had him anointed. It's a very demonic business. And you don't think about it until you have flashbacks of old clips or things that get said, and then you kind of watch them unfold. You know, who's Billy Carson? Oh, him. Oh, I don't pay it no mind because you gotta understand something. I mean, if that's not the kind of question I can answer because it's done like that on purpose. Terrence done fooled around and did so much of stuff like that that people forgot what his actually livelihood was. You know, you forget that guy should be one of the five greatest living actors of the day, as opposed to being some dude that's just talented. And he did say he don't do cheeks for checks. I'll give him props for that. He don't do that Hollywood strange stuff. However, a lot of stuff come out of his mouth kind of just almost defeats the purpose. So take your pick. I don't know Billy Carson. I know Johnny Carson. I know some cats named Billy, but I don't know who he is. But if you're putting him next side to Terrence, and you got to be really saying some off the wall stuff, because Terrence says off the wall stuff. So I'm sure it'll come out. I don't know. I have no clue. You know, I have no idea who that could be. Did I ask this already? Who team was strong? Okay, this is a good question. Um, Death Row was over Bad Boy over So Def Jam was the toughest. Um, this is what I'm gonna say about this. And Murder Inc. only had 2.5 people, but Ashanti and Ja Rule were huge for what they did. Diddy built everything off of Biggie, and Faith did all the writing at 112, and you had Diddy's career and all that, but there wasn't a lot there. Death Row, Dre and Snoop was supposed to be a 1-2 punch. Then you later had Pac, and you had others on there, which did pretty good. So Def for Crisscross the Brat and Escape, and then Jagged Edge and Jermaine. But to be honest with you, Def Jam's the only one. Def Jam was the closest thing to a multi because it was an actual hip hop label where the cat that ran the now Rick Rubin was a great producer, but the thing about it is they were the others were more boutique who happened to break off big and were big. Well, L.A. Reid, well, LaFace Records, but LaFace was more R&B based. Uptown didn't jump off the way it should have. It should have been a bigger label. Had Mary over there, had Jodeci over there, and Andre Runt. They messed. They dropped the ball. Bad contracts, bad vibe. Had a gold mine over there if you play it right. Uptown could have been because Uptown had the streets and it had hip hop and R&B. You had Mary J, you had Jodeci, and you had Heavy D and the Boys, and you had a lot going for you. Just didn't finish what they had. So out of all them that you mentioned, just on that is Def Jam and a blowout. Because Def Jam had the LL Cool J's, you had the Public Enemies. Think about it. I mentioned two household names and almost, so that's why I mentioned that. So L.A. Reid and Babyface with the face, but he didn't really, he played company man. Good question though. But it's gonna be Def Jam and a blowout though. As I'll break it down to you, Death Row didn't last near enough to really merit that. They went into the quickie before they had a chance to really get to next. I mean, LL Cool J outlasted Death Row Records. Bad Boy was post Biggie, and then you had Shine and you had some Run, but they was pretty much. And So Def, man, boutique label. They all had big booms. Marink had a big boom too. But Def Jam had to run though. So that's how I look at it. 75% saying yes. All right, let's get some more questions going if anybody's around. Like I said before, I understand why nobody comes. I know. I already know. Um, Craig Mack had to catch his song. Busta Rhymes because coming from leaders of new school. So I think Craig Mack was a big that was a big statement. But Buster had the one though. He had the edge though. So that's how I would say it. To me, I give it edge to bust on that. But I did like Flavor in Your Ear though. ODB was catchy, but I think it's more out of those two. And I think Buster got just a slight edge because Get Your Nipple I can see was he had, I was feeling him at first. He definitely had an edge to him and a vibe. But I did like Flavor in Your Ear though. But I wasn't that deep beyond just that cut with Craig Mack. But he definitely understood dropping the hit song that was tight. What we got? Uh, Probably Lisa Neal. That probably give it age too. I appreciate you coming through today too, because you're the only person I got on consistency today. Time did come through yesterday. We chopped it up yesterday. Time was on. I was on a little bit later, so yep. Mm, all right. Okay, just waiting to see if anybody else comes through. 3,000. Andre. Not even close, because I mean, Andre got more of a career and more persona. CeeLo was hot and happening, and then most people don't even talk about CeeLo no more. They don't talk about Andre 3000 either, but he had a chance to be something. He's like a soulful cat without soul because he did that, had a couple songs, and I haven't heard CeeLo Green's name in a minute. So I'll be on for another half hour. I'll give it another half hour. I think I can hold off for another half hour. Okay. Yes, I'll take an Andre. Ask him who's the better singer of all three. If I had to pick, I'd give the edge to Kelly Price because she's actually done something that both of them couldn't do. J Hud has still been trying to recapture that moment from Dreamgirls that ain't gonna happen, and she pretty much tried to make herself a around the way Oprah. So that's her. So and vocally, she's good. She's got range, but she just doesn't have no soul. It don't connect. Wrong songs don't connect. Faith, same problem. Imagery was on point, but her vibe So that's kind of how I look at it. Give me Kelly Price. Be right back. Hold up. Ah. All right, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Had to take care of stuff next door. I'm back. Appreciate you. Um, taking the Delphonics. That's a good one. Angela Winbush, but I did like Melissa Morgan. I did like Melissa Morgan. That's a name you don't hear no more. Can't think of that one song I like by Melissa Morgan because everybody knows she did "Do Me Baby," then she did a good job, but can't think of that other song that she did that was real tight. But Winbush, I like Angela, but I did like Melissa. That's a good vocal battle, actually. And I do like, I'd say, the Delphonics. But the delegations were nice though. Good questions. Good questions. I like Shirley Murdoch. Shirley Murdoch was like a precursor to Kelly Price and to HUD. But I gotta say Evelyn Champagne. You get more versatility. More versatility. But I like them both though. I like them both. And I always do root for Evelyn. I do like Evelyn Champagne a lot though. I like Shirley Murdoch too because she was cool. I mean, just for Shame alone, she's got an iconic song. That's what I mean when I be talking about money tracks. Evelyn Champagne King never had to do another song again after Shame, but she did. Shame is like a timeless classic though. Stacy for me, better vocals. Mariah's got the better career, but if we just talking on the vocals, I'm giving it to Stacy. Cause Let Me Be Your Angel, Mariah could never. To hit those kind of notes and to keep the timbre and the soul and love on a two-way street. Mariah's probably one of those artists that probably wonders why people don't respect her. Cause I said, well, you did a lot of corny stuff and you did a lot of simple stuff. And Stacey Lasso just to me just had it right. She just didn't want to play the games of the industry. But as far as singing, she just, she could have had Mariah's career easily. Could have done a song like Vision of Love and just had turned your neck back. Because she worked with the same producer, Narada Michael Walton. And remember the game, that one song that Mariah sampled from her for me, you know. But it's a lot of politics involved. So I tell you all the time, lots of politics. The 3 Degrees. Yeah, I know who they were. The 3 Degrees. When Will I See You Again? The Pointer Sisters. Because they only had a couple big hits. When Will I See You Again was a big hit. But the Pointer Sisters had a catalog and they're more versatile. And I think the Pointer Sisters got them beat vocally. But I know who you're talking about. 3 Degrees. They did have great harmonies though. I mean, at Philly International. They just didn't have enough stuff that merit, because Pointer Sisters got better catalog. And I give them the edge vocally too. So anyway. The Charmaine. I know about the crystals. The Charmails sound very familiar. Hope you got the name right, because I think I know who you're talking about. I think I go with the crystals though. So they had a lot of female groups that predated the Supremes, but uh maybe if you mention the Andrew sisters, but I don't really think I would take any female group before I take the Supremes. All due respect to the Andrew sisters who could sing and all that, but I'd be very hard pressed. That's just my personal opinion. And again, I'm entitled to it, and I could be wrong, but that's just how I feel. Okay, I found my other pen. Good. Papa Was a Rolling Stone was the biggest song, but I probably listen to the Spinners more though. I mean, I think the Temptations are the greatest male vocal group, but if you're just asking me based on the song, um, Papa Was a Rolling Stone will be they'll get the edge. But I listen, I'll be around more though. General consensus is gonna go with Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Personal for me, I probably go I'll be around though. Cause I love that groove though. Okay. So I hope that answers that. That's a good question that you asked though, because uh, you know, they hit in two different ways though. But I think Papa Was Rolling Stones are more iconic. So the bass line and Norman Whitfield and that groove. I mean, when then that whole chorus, the thing just you can hear that horn in your mind. That bass was everything too. But I lived I'll be around though. I mean, the Tom Bell orchestration. You know. Ugh. That's the music nerd in me geek come out. When you start talking about the arrangements and how people played such a fullness and the capacity. Oh man. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. That's a bygone era. It's hard. We'll probably be back Wednesday, probably around this time, Wednesday or Thursday. So definitely Wednesday around this time. And I'll probably make it a back to back Wednesday and Thursday. And then after that it'll be Sunday, Monday kind of thing. So yeah. So the next couple of days it'll be Wednesday and Thursday. I'm glad you came on. I appreciate your comments. and also appreciate your questions. And thank you for being you. Um, Glad you were here. And I will use some of the what you suggested. I will definitely do. So I hope that you have a great rest of your day and your evening and eat well and rest well. And thank you for being you. So, and if anything comes up, hit me up on Facebook or anything like that. So, yeah, Wednesday and possibly Thursday. So, take care of yourself and thank you again. What's happening? Hey, you coming at the right time. How much time you got left since you're coming on? How much time you got? Doing good. I didn't think nobody else was gonna show up today because it's been kind of like, you know. Mm-hmm. You know what time it is. And believe me, if he could unload, take them off his holidays and make them about him, he sure would. Okay, well then let's do it. So when you get ready to go, I'm gonna go. Bet. Cause all I gotta do is some future videos. I got everything else done. So that's all I'll be working on. So as long as you can, you ready, you get ready to go, we won't talk, we can chop it up. And I just got through telling Charlene I'll be back here on Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm not here tomorrow. So, but I got 25 minutes. If you want to chop it up, let's chop it up. All I need is one person who knows how to converse and got some questions and some thoughts, and we can kick it. We can talk. He did. The only problem is that you can't play like that every Sunday. I saw that against Baltimore. And you can't keep playing with that like that though. They gotta play some defense. They gotta turn the ball over. They gotta defend better. They've played like that. They played too many games where high scoring and doing all that. That's not his fault. Not that. Did you see where Rice dropped that ball on that little 3rd and 2? He dropped that ball. And Kelsey's ball went through his hands and was intercepted. That's not on Mahomes. They drop passes. They're very not as focused. I can't find a lot of fault with him. How you gonna find fault with him in that Dallas game? Their defense didn't show up. Houston's defense is pretty good. They're pretty good. I think the Texans are one of the most dangerous teams. Yeah. Well, the Ravens situation is that turnovers, defense sucks, and getting out coached. Andy Reid was trying to be clever, and they should have taken points, and so they missed out on the opportunities. But the problem is that when you play like that, eventually you either get someone hurt or you're just gonna get exposed. I don't think it's the end of Kansas City though. That's what I said. That's what I've said. Them and then the I don't know Jacksonville Jaguars are an interesting situation because you got to watch out for what they're doing because they're actually no one's paying attention. They slowly creeping up. The equivalent to the Texans in the NFC is the Seattle Seahawks. Those are my two most dangerous teams. But Texans thing is scary because they're like a throwback. They score 20, and if their problem is offense, because CJ Stroud, they suck on offense, but yeah, and I think the Seahawks, remember, the Rams beat them and turned the ball all that, and I mean Seattle turned the ball damn down on all that, and they still barely beat Seattle. That's a dangerous team. Because if they are playing like they supposed to and they're waxing against scrub teams, they're gonna be a problem. They're gonna be a problem. So I think Seattle and Houston are two scariest teams I see. Well, it's called game managing. And if you understand your job and your task, you can look like a stud. Brady would start off like that, but then he got, Dilfer was never Brady level, but he understood what he had to do. Stay poised, read plays real well. Brad Johnson did it too. Stay poised, read what they give you. Don't try to be cute. You're not a scrambler. Don't do too much. You'll be all right. Oh well, yeah, but he made himself into a great quarterback though. He made himself into a great quarterback though. When I say regular season quarterback, if you go by accolades, but if I was going by regular season, I could make a case for Dan Marino. It all depends how you look at it. I don't put that. I think Brady, uh, surpassed being a game manager. If Peyton Manning had been a game, he did that in the postseason when he won those two Super Bowls because he stunk it up, and so he had to slow his wheels down. But I it all depends on how you look at it, though. I don't want to put. I just look at overall totality. If Peyton had half the thing that Brady had in the postseason, he'd be the dude. But his postseasons was anything but memorable. Oh, he to me he do because he changed his dietary. He knew he wasn't the most athletic cat, but he made himself better. He kept learning. He kept working at his craft. And that counts for something. So when you see a guy who does that, they took Indianapolis out because that was for the Peyton Manning. That was political. He couldn't beat Brady. And on top of that, he couldn't even beat Chad Pennington. You remember what the Jets did to him. That was embarrassing, 41 to zilch. He wasn't having that kind of success in the AFC East. They weren't going to take Miami out. Miami's an old school fixture in the AFC East. And Indianapolis is more south anyway. Miami's East Coast, uh, New England, Buffalo, the Jets. That's all East Coast. They're not going to do that. When Baltimore was the Colts, but they did that to protect. That's when Man and them started beating Kansas City in the playoffs, if you remember. That's what I've been just got through saying because they had that 38-34. They had a game where they lost early in his career. And Tyler was bumping and they was physical with him. And then they kind of changed the rules about stuff. They started because you remember up until that '06 AFC Championship game that they came back on against New England, they had his number. Belichick had his number. And when he wouldn't beat Chicago the Super Bowl, that was the guy him through for all his greatness and his stories, you know. So they did them a solid. Moved their butt up out of there and got them, you know. Um Patriots benefited for some calls, but it's a different ballgame. Iverson's crossover, I don't his more about him, it's more about him totality than was his crossover. He just didn't get no calls. That's all. The refs told him as such. He wasn't a likable black man. And so he was getting no calls. And the refs told him to his face. He knew. Oh, okay. Welcome back. Glad to see you. It's a different thing with the Patriots and Iverson. Plus, the Patriots kind of got caught cheating. They had about a couple videotapes, whereas there was no cheating with Iverson. He just wasn't going to get no calls. Tim Donahue, who I watch his videos, talked about it. And they told Iverson, "You're not getting any calls." And he knew. He knew. Just like Rasheed Wallace knew. They knew. And they had bet money back in the 90s. It's nothing new. What Chauncey Billups got busted doing, they been new. It's nothing new under the sun. So, okay. See, we got now. Yeah, the funny story about that, I think he was hanging out with Gary Payton. I forgot what the story was, but he said that, and then he went on a rant about his being an MVP and all that. And then the Spurs, Greg Popovich mocked him later because he had Tim Duncan come off the bench and he did a mockery of it. No, they didn't like it. Iverson was too big, too black, too unapologetic. He was what they had to succumb to because he was the cat that everybody was rolling with, you know, in terms of the streets. But Iverson was the favorite. He had the streets on lock. He was kind of like the Mike Tyson of basketball in that regard. He had the street cred. I thought he did some dumb stuff, and I think sometimes he put himself beyond the team. But also at the same time, they were definitely racist against him. Oh, he was first of all because he was that dude. He was that dude. Booties in the seats, and you selling jerseys. Yes, you gets love. Yes, you gets love. And let me not say nothing else with that because he got love. He sold he stole jerseys. He sold jerseys. You gotta sell some jerseys. That's how they tolerate you. But him and the owner got into it and Larry Brown and all that. Well, the thing with the women was depends on what you're trying to ask. If you're talking about the Brad or if you're talking about, he got around. He was 304. And I'll let you on a secret. I used to live in Hampton, Virginia, so I know all about how he got down. I know about that bowling alley situation because that bowling alley used to be around the corner from my grandmother's house. I remember all that stuff. What happened with him? Except he was married though. But anyway, he's gonna be doing a neo ligament. Um. Yeah. Well, he got around, and that's not including all the stuff that you didn't see. But the thing about it, they were torn because of his public persona, his facade. So, hey, that's how it worked. You'd be surprised how these so-called journalists get an edge on you. Think about Brian Windhorst and this whole thing with LeBron. These cats has always got a beat on something, and it works like tit for tat. So that's how it works. You got no friends in that business. That's what T Pain was talking about when he talked about DJ Khaled and all that stuff. You got no friends. It's all the same. It's all the same. So you gotta be very much on it. And Iverson definitely had the right for all the stuff that he did. Somebody was looking out for him because he got that lifetime Reeboks. That money's coming in a few years, so somebody was looking out for him. Yeah, I did a video on that. If you watching in my videos, I did that interview about that. I did a video about what he said. Well, no, we already know that. I remember an old interview with R. Kelly. This was like 20 some years ago, and he said he had industry friends. He basically saw them as cool for his industry, but they weren't no friends. They're not. And people be at these award shows clapping and And then when they don't, and they just talk trash about you, and when you get in trouble, they got a long line of why you sucked and what's wrong with you. They just ended. It's so fake. It is fake. It is fake. When Michael Jackson had that first situation back in 93, 94, he told J. Randy Torretta, said, "You lucky you got 5 friends in the world. For as big as you are, when something happens, they act like they don't know you. They go ghost on you." So, so I say, stay as you are. Don't change, cause I don't want you to change. If you be hating before, keep it hating. Don't change cause you see a dollar in my hand. All of a sudden, you gonna act like you gonna be all buddy buddy. Keep it to yourself, cause that's how they be acting. And then they stick them 304s on you, and then you get seduced, and you be a dummy. An industry is no joke. Mm-mm. So, gotta be careful. Yeah, I saw all that. All that. Well, that's she's one of them. She's one of them. One of them. It's just that she has a position that she's one of them. You know who the others are? There's Quincy Jones was funny time. Tyler Perry, funny time. You know, what they do is that any of them that they get put in a little position, and and Diddy was one of them, and 50 Cent's one of them, and all of them that are being ran by the industry to do the most debauchery are all they all want to be gatekeepers, and they all get to hold something, but that's all what it is. It's just a facade. Allie Reed was too. Yeah, well, he's cheeks for checks though. So, except the thing is that he ain't much of a problem, because if they really wanted to run him off the road, they would have Shannon Sharped him, and he's still gonna be able to do what he do. There's a lot of them that you'd be surprised. A lot more. Well, Steve sold his soul. That's how Steve would have been in trouble. That's how he got that hooked up divorce situation. He would have been in a lot of trouble. He sold his soul. Most of them have. Like I said, you'd be surprised at who I would mention. Steve is, you know, they give him because he didn't played enough of a role to get over. So they're letting him parlay. So she don't ever upset the cart, and he won't. He won't. He don't never say anything that because they got him all under lock. And you pay attention. That's why you'll never see nobody coming out saying no more. You don't have the public enemy. You don't have people saying that stuff. Oh yeah, but there's always one of those around. There's always a one or two of them around. Mm, yep. Good answers. Good answers. Good takes. It's all true. All true. Oh, I already knew. I already knew because I saw them both from Def Jam Comedy back in the day, and Bernie was already rising when he did Friday. Steve hadn't even had Steve didn't even at that time didn't even have his TV show out. Bernie was already doing movies, so I already and he couldn't help it. And then at the only time Steve then kind of parlayed himself into saying stuff or doing stuff. It's just that it's common. Cat can't really talk because they all do the same thing. There's always, you know, them being one up on somebody because they got to be the brother that gets whoever their brother is. It's the one at a time rule. It's like Bill Cosby was that dude. Then Sinbad had that role. Then Steve Harvey had that role. Safe brother, safe deposit brother. Then you had the Eddie Murphy wannabes, and they went on with that. And so this is what it's nothing new. Yeah, I remember he did, and so did Mark Curry. I seen the interview. Mark Curry talked about it already. Yeah, hang with Mr. Cooper. Yeah, and it was going to be like a Black Threes Company and a thing. Yeah, I see Mark Curry talk about it. But they all steal. First of all, ain't nothing original. They do everyone's act. I wish they would tell the truth that, hey, we all took. It's just that can I sell it more? This is the problem. Mark Curry did not have crossover potential like Steve Harvey. You talk about Allen Iverson filling out stands. It's the same thing in any form. If you don't, so what's his name? He used to play for the Dallas Cowboys, the running back who went to the Philadelphia Eagles. This was the late two, it was 2017, 2018. I can't think of his name. He had 1,800 yards. I had a buddy of mine who's a Cowboy fan. He came at me, he said, Max, he said, how come uh, he doesn't get no love as a running back for the Cowboys? I said, because he don't sell no jerseys. And then I stopped dude dead in his tracks. He looked at me, he had this look like I said, look, if you don't move no jerseys, I don't care how talented you is. You gotta have some kind of charisma. You gotta be able to hit. And there are a lot of people that got talent, but you gotta be able to sell, you know, yeah, DeMarco Murray. Yep. And I had a discussion with and he looked at me and he stopped said, because DeMarco don't sell no jerseys. Ezekiel Elliott did sell some jerseys, then he flew around and ate the jersey, and Dak still sells jerseys. Some of that is the reason why they tolerate some of these cats. And some of it's got nothing to do with how talented you are. It's can you sell? It's a business. So I try to tell it all the time. Thank you for mentioning DeMarco because I forgot. But that's what I'm trying to say. They have a way that they want it to sell. It's like when Antonio Brown kept messing up all the time, but they kept giving him. He sold jerseys, and he was a fascinating character. And he kind of pulled the Rodman thing. He kind of pulled the Terrell Owens thing. Why do you think Ocho Cinco was like a double junior broke version of Terrell Owens? But he could sell jerseys, he was entertaining. You know, some it's a lot of politics. Yep. Well, yeah, that's how it goes. Cheeks for checks, booty for looty. I tell you all the time, and I tell it in my videos. If I do a video about somebody, I let it be known that hey, cheeks for checks, booty for looty. I ain't fronting. Now you want the TV version or you want the real version? I give it to you. And you mention whatever profession so and so's in, I will tell you. It's a business, yo. It is a business. You know. Like I watched David Ortiz talking about baseball in the playoffs. He's in the Hall of Fame. He sucked up and kissed up and he had the right vibe that they wanted. He ain't the half of Barry Bonds, but he came up big in the World Series, has a big but see it's politics, yo. It's where you are and can you sell. Well, I'll tell you example. Black athletes and entertainers back in the day, right? If you were commercialized, they married you off. They did the Sugar Ray Leonard. Uh, they did it to Jordan too. Kobe got married off too. I'm gonna tell you, Shaq did too. LeBron did eventually. Dwayne Wade. It's so predictable. It's not even funny. And if I tell this story about when you cross over, I'm not talking about in Tiger got married too. I ain't talking about. I'm talking about when you cross over. They just like they see to it that they, how they beard up cats. They do that to regular guys, cats too. Selling to corporate America. Just telling you, it's a business. We gotta clean you up, and that's what they're gearing for. So. Whereas back in the day with singers, they didn't want you to ever be like you were married. They wanted you to be a playboy. Or if you're a female, they wanted you to have that illusion. They had ways that they kind of manipulated all that. So it was different things in different industries, but it's all the same thing. They want to make you appealable. Tiger sold his soul. Tiger had a chance when Fuzzy Zeller popped off, and he didn't. He had an interview back in 1990 when he spoke out about how racist it was because they were not allowing blacks to play at the Masters in 1990. And he shuffled, and no one understood a word he said. Campbellese or Coca Cabana. No one paid him no mind. You know, but that's what he did. Look, he might be the greatest golfer I ever saw, and I will always give him his love as that. But the other side of him, I can't stand him. You got that right, because he had to put his finger on his nose with that DUI. And when his wife put clubbing upside his head, he definitely knew, because the story was, he said she's ghetto. He got embarrassed. And I mean, but what's happening? Hello again, hello again. But that's just par for the course with him though. I don't even trip about old Tiger. And it's funny too, because he was at the White House for Black History Month, and it was funny when Trump said, "And my African American buddy, my black friend Tiger Woods," and Tiger was almost ready to faint, like he was Fred Sanford. Cracked me up. That was hilarious. But yeah, you know, and he is in the family. He's involved with Trump's ex daughter-in-law. It's crazy. Crazy stuff goes on. So I don't know. I think it was more than just that. I think that when he won, because you gotta remember something, that's an old timey white folk money there. That's like NASCAR. That's like what Jordan is doing with that. I think because of being in that sector, and he did get accepted. He got accepted for his plan. But when he gets in trouble, they like, get away from us, Mookie. We don't know you. But yeah, as a player, he got accepted. He did. He did. Well, if you go by the Barry Bonds situation, then yes. Even though Alex Rodriguez brought up a great point. How are you going to allow Bud Selig in and not have Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire when he was the commissioner? That makes no sense. But they have ways that they do stuff. And they did sell a narrative of black and white, and they did sell a narrative of when they were on strike coming back. And then, he acted all dumbfounded. That's the games they play. I think Tiger thought that his play alone would break some barriers. And they do accept him because I saw a few years ago they give him a round of applause. I mean, they as a player, they're gonna always respect him. He look, they got to because he brought money to the plantation. you know, shoot. I mean, he made all these cats step their game up. They were became athletes. They no offense, because I like John Daly. John Daly was one of my favorite golfers, but John Daly looked like your typical golfer, just drinking beer and eating slices and on his back. Tiger came out there working, doing working out. Shoot, cats was doing squats, hitting that ball long, and he made them become tiger proof at the Masters. He changed the course of the game. He changed it. And the money came in. And that's the most important thing because everybody that comes after Tiger Woods should get that cat $1 because he made it profitable. That's why you got the Saudi Arabians coming over to get in on it. So I'm going to say, well, I'm going to tell you about that story. VJ wasn't faking the funk. He always said that he thought Tiger and Phil Nicholson were frauds. He said about how they acted. VJ wasn't faking the funk, and he wasn't a hater like that. He wasn't doing it from a I don't like black folk thing. He was doing it because he saw the stench. He when he won his player of the year, there wasn't no fanfare for him. And so he wasn't tap dancing. One of those old school cats that just said, you know what? I just do what I do. See, I think what it is this. They knew that Tiger wasn't no family man, and they know that old Phil likes to gamble. That's the stuff they never tell you about those cats. Phil's situation might not be that dissimilar to Chauncey Bill. Allegedly, not quite the extreme, but he got some shady stuff that happened with Mr. Phil Nicholson. But they have conveniently never talk about it. Oh, I can bet your bottom dollar that there's been a lot of bets placed on them golf courses. And when you got these Saudi Arabia cats coming in with the whole tournament thing, and it's sponsored by corporate America and NRAs and all that stuff is involved, and ask yourself if Trump paying attention to how that go down. See, it's funny how they can slide this and slide that. He was cool, except for that choke job he did, but he was cool. He was cool. Nobody. What make you ask me that question? First of all, there's no white dude that's emerging that has that kind of aura, that has that kind of appeal, and also is considered somewhat cool or somewhat corny. So that's not. There's no one. No one. Nobody. The quote he sweat. Nobody. Still do. Well, I like how you just came out the blue like you were undercover. I didn't disrespect nobody, because I was making a point about how they bought into the me and Time, if you read, I was talking about how they bought into the LPG, how they bought into the golf. And say anything about that. I said from a business perspective, they put their money in and they are players. So that's a fact. Yeah, he understood charisma on stage. That's what I was got through saying about how you sell jerseys. And he was part soulful. He got some black in him too, but that was downplayed. But he a soulful cat who understood how to work a stage. And if you know how to work and do that work, you're gonna get that love. You ain't sparing me nothing. I ain't scared of nobody. I didn't disrespect nobody. Don't come on here making no threats. Please don't. That's a quick way to get thrown out of here. Okay? People need to learn how to read. Reading is fundamental. When you comprehend and you ask, what are you guys talking about before you spew, then you'd understand. If They bought into, which was a very divisive thing, because Tiger was one of the last ones to agree to play when they bought into the LPG, to the golf, the MPG, the golf situation. And they all agreed to sign in. And Phil was one of the first, and he caught a backlash for it. So it was business. Now that's funny. Well, he's got black in his ancestry though too. I knew he did though. But yeah, of course he listened. All they all did. They all grew up on R&B. They all grew up on it. Little Richard, James Brown, Jackie Wilson. They all grew up on all that. Otis Red. They grew up on all that. That's what they identified with. They didn't identify with Cliff Richards. They identified with the brothers in the states. Um, the Rams are a very good team. The Rams are a very good team. But before you boast and flex, right? Make sure you beat Philadelphia. Okay. Okay. Make sure you beat Carolina. Okay. Beat the team you're supposed to and don't choke no leads, okay? Because that's the reason why you're not undefeated right now. That's the reason why, as great as you are, you don't quite check that box as that team, because you do drop a birdie once in a while. Beat Philadelphia, please. Would there be? Um, yeah, there would be. Well, Little Richard, there was this artist out of Atlanta. Starts with the E. I can't think of it. Emmanuel Espresso. It's a name. I don't know what your team would do, because your team is erratic. You tend to lose games you're not supposed to. And if I was you, you're tied with Seattle. Stay in your lane, because you got exposed pretty bad against Carolina. Yeah, you beat up on Arizona yesterday. Big man flexing. What happened against Carolina, though? Matthew Stafford looked pretty bad. Stay in your lane. Don't boast or brag until you beat Philadelphia. I want to see you do it when it counts. Elvis had that, and he also went to the black churches. Oh, oh, I do know who created rock and roll, because between Little Richard, Chuck Berry, and if you let Quincy Jones tell it, Lionel Hampton actually predated it. There's a hybrid of guys who created rock and roll. Don't forget Fats Domino. No one ever gives Fats Domino his due. It's the boogie woogie. He is, but he also gagged against Philly. And I don't like it when people who don't want to talk about the now. Why can't you beat Philadelphia? Why'd you choke last year in the playoffs and choke the season and so far? Why'd you lose like that to Carolina? So please don't come in here trying to start nothing, popping off. Yeah, Josh Allen has only been in the league MVP, but you know good and well, like I know, let Josh Allen win a Super Bowl before Matthew Stafford wins another one. Let Josh Allen win a Super Bowl or Lamar Jackson win a Super Bowl. We did this year though in the regular season. You can't either. Did you beat them in the Super Bowl? No. Well, he didn't say anything about the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's up here talking about the Rams, but yeah. Listen, I think the Rams are a great team. I think Sean McVay does a good job, but they gotta win. They better beat Philadelphia. See, they're one of those kind of teams. It's like they do everything right, but then it's that little hiccups. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Put your month put up or shut up. We'll see. We'll see. I know one thing. You spend more time worried about Josh Allen than about Matthew Stafford. I know that. I don't know why, because you feel kind of insecure. We'll see how it turn out. We'll see how it turns out. But you got to worry about Seattle. So, like we got to worry about New England. You ain't sharing them if I gave them to you. It's not like you're gonna come back here and say, "Yo, bro, I give you 5% of it." It's So like you gonna say, okay, here, man, you were nice enough to hook me up, so I'm gonna give you 879,000. Yeah, right. But if I won that kind of money and everyone who supports my channel, I would donate. I sure would. That's the difference. I would. I would do that. And of course, I take care of some charities and stuff like that. I do the humane thing. Why they give me something like that? Yeah. Well, that's how you look at life. We are two different philosophies. See, I don't look at life like that. Besides, I grew up in a different kind of mindset. So sometimes when people give me something spiritual, I don't forget. But that's too deep for you. So sometimes I go over people's heads, and it's understandable. Because anybody comes on here getting all upset because somebody was talking about something about how a golf situation changed, and give you nothing. I'm gonna give you a piece of advice. Come in here with more respect the next time. No one said anything bad about anybody from Saudi Arabia. Was talking about golf and everything. So please come in here with courtesy and respect, and we will be fine. And I do think you should offer an apology for coming in here acting like someone had disrespected something, which was the furthest thing from the truth. I made a point about how the golf tournament changed, and the people that were running the Masters were willing to sell and corporate and do corporate business. So, and as for all that smoke, and no one said anything, you won't come to Buffalo and do nothing. It's too cold for you. And second of all, you couldn't hang in Buffalo. And third of all, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna get ready to go too because I don't. This cat's on here talking too much smack. Thank you for coming through, Tom. I'll be back on Wednesday. Appreciate you. Thank you for having dignity in class, and we had a great combo. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. And we brought up some great topics too. I'm gonna definitely use them. All right. Yeah, it is. But the snow felt good when you win, but it can be very cold. It can be cold, and then it can be crazy weather, and it can be thunder and lightning. It can be hot too. You get a little bit of everything. You get some of that Lake Erie, you don't know what you're gonna get. The Buffalo can get real cold. Hard to say because Blizzard of '77, they never had a worse snowstorm than what Buffalo had. It's hard to say. They're not that far from one another. It's hard to say. But I'm not in the game of debating whose place is colder because I let's just say I don't like it either way. But it gets cold either way. All right, I'm gonna get it roll, but I'll be back on Wednesday. Listen, don't tell me what to do. Rick James was from Buffalo and it was cold in Buffalo. Everybody knew it was cold in Buffalo. Prince just said that because he said it kept all the bad people out. Don't tell me about that. Don't come here making no threats. I'm gonna take that off. Don't come here saying no mess like that. Okay, I'm gone. I'm be dealing with this foolishness. But anyway, appreciate you, Charlene. You have a good day, and thank you for coming through. Thank you, Tom, as well. I'm out.